Let's be honest. This morning, when you opened your eyes, what was the first thing you told yourself? Was it, I'm tired? Was it, not again? Or maybe you didn't tell yourself anything at all. You just reached for your phone, numbed your mind with notifications, and quietly let the day swallow you whole. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Every single morning, whether you notice it or not, you are programming yourself. You are feeding your mind a script, a story, a quiet whisper that shapes the rest of your day. And most of us, without realizing it, choose scripts that chain us. Scripts of fear, self-doubt, and distraction. But philosophy, the raw kind that doesn't sit quietly in dusty bookshelves, but burns in your chest, tells us something else. That freedom begins not with politics, not with wealth, not even with luck, but with the words you dare to tell yourself the moment you wake up. So today, I want to give you 5 ruthless truths to tell yourself every morning. Not affirmations that sound pretty on paper, not soft lies to soothe your ego, but brutal, liberating reminders that shake you awake. Because the truth is the only thing that can make you free. 1. I will die, and it could be today. Marcus Aurelius, Emperor of Rome, woke each day reminding himself of death. He wrote in his Meditations, "You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think it's uncomfortable, morbid, even offensive to modern ears." But here's the question. Why does a thought so grim bring such clarity? Because it cuts through the noise. When you hold your mortality in your hands, suddenly the small anxieties, the awkward comment, the email you forgot to send, the stranger who judged your clothes, none of it matters. Plato once wrote that philosophy itself is a preparation for death, not in the sense of giving up, but in learning to live without wasting a second. Ask yourself, if this morning was your last, would you really want to spend it scrolling through strangers' lives? Would you want your last breath to be wasted on regret, on hesitation, on things you never had the courage to say? Death is the enemy we pretend doesn't exist. But if you dare to face it every single morning, it stops being your enemy. It becomes your teacher. 2. No one owes me anything. Here's a painful truth. The world doesn't owe you happiness. Your family doesn't owe you love. Your friends don't owe you loyalty. Even life itself doesn't owe you fairness. Nietzsche once mocked the idea of cosmic justice. He called life a chaos of chance and power, not a system of neat rewards and punishments. So why remind yourself of this every morning? Because when you release the world from debt, you free yourself from chains of bitterness. Think of how often we suffer because of invisible contracts. They should treat me better. I deserve more. Why me? But what if, radical thought, you started every day expecting nothing? Then when kindness arrives, you greet it not as your salary, but as a gift. Suddenly, gratitude is possible. Suddenly, joy returns. Machiavelli, often painted as cold and ruthless, understood this in politics. No one acts out of pure love. People act out of need, fear, desire. The wise leader expects betrayal, not because he is cynical, but because he is clear-eyed. You too can live this way. No one owes you anything, which means, strangely, you are free to be surprised by everything. 3. Most of my suffering is self-created. Pause, take a breath. Think about your life's pain. Yes, some of it came from tragedy, betrayal, bad luck. But if you are brutally honest, how much of your suffering comes not from what happened, but from the story you told yourself about it? The insult that replayed in your mind for days, the fear of rejection that kept you silent, the resentment you nurtured until it became poison. Epictetus, the slave-turned-philosopher, taught that people are disturbed not by things, but by the views they take of them. This doesn't mean your pain isn't real. It means you are not helpless. You are not just a victim of fate. The battlefield is in your interpretation. Imagine 2 people caught in a storm. One curses the sky, shaking fists at nature's cruelty. The other takes shelter, accepts the rain, and learns patience. Same storm, different suffering. Every morning tell yourself, most of my suffering is self-created. It hurts to admit this. But once you do, you take back your power. 4. Comfort will kill me faster than pain. We live in a culture obsessed with comfort. Softer pillows, faster apps, easier everything. And yet, never have people been so restless, anxious, and fragile. Dietrich Bonhoeffer, who stood against the Nazi regime, wrote about cheap grace, the temptation to take the easy path instead of the righteous one. Cheap grace makes you weak. True grace costs something. The same applies to your mornings. When you roll over instead of rising, when you avoid discomfort at every turn, you train yourself in fragility. But pain, voluntary pain, sharpens you. The runner's burning lungs, the philosopher's long solitude, the monk's hunger, the soldier's discipline. These discomforts don't destroy, they forge. Nietzsche said, "What does not kill me makes me stronger." But he didn't mean passive survival. He meant choosing to face life's furnace instead of hiding from it. So tell yourself each dawn, comfort will kill me faster than pain. Then lean into the friction of life, not away from it. 5. Today I am responsible. Here is the final and perhaps most brutal truth. Whatever happens today, I am responsible. Not in the childish sense of blaming yourself for the world's chaos, but in the deeper sense that your response is always yours to own. Viktor Frankl, survivor of the concentration camps, wrote, "Everything can be taken from a man but one thing, the last of the human freedoms, to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances." Responsibility is terrifying because it strips you of excuses. You can't hide behind, "They made me angry," or "Life isn't fair." You can't outsource your courage. But responsibility is also exhilarating because it returns the wheel of your life to your own hands. This morning, whisper to yourself, "I am responsible," and you will notice the fog lifts. The chaos feels navigable. You are not powerless. You never were. The hidden thread between them, all now, step back and look at these 5 truths. I will die. No one owes me anything. Most of my suffering is self-created. Comfort will kill me faster than pain. Today I am responsible. At first glance, they seem heavy, even cruel. Why begin a day with thoughts so dark? But here's the paradox. These truths, faced daily, don't crush you. They unchain you. They strip away the illusions that keep you weak. They burn off the fog of entitlement, fear, and laziness. And in that clearing, something astonishing appears. Freedom. This is what philosophy has always been about. Not memorizing names and dates, but facing reality so nakedly that you become untouchable. The Stoics knew it. Nietzsche knew it. Bonhoeffer knew it. And deep down, you know it too. So tomorrow morning, when the alarm pulls you from sleep, resist the old script. Don't reach for your phone. Don't tell yourself the same quiet lies. Instead, whisper one of these truths, or all of them. Let them sting. Let them unsettle you. Because if you can endure these ruthless truths before the day even begins, then nothing and no one will have the power to break you after. And maybe, just maybe, you'll finally live. Not in chains of habit, not in fear of death, but in the raw, terrifying, beautiful freedom that philosophy has always pointed us toward. The question is, tomorrow morning, will you dare?